Good evening, everyone. It's a new era here in the NASR world of racing. The once was the Sylvania Busch Light Series is now the Bridgestone Bridge to Cup Championship battle. And like we've been hyping it up, it's kind of going to be a conglomeration of a whole lot of things. And tonight we get to see them put on a show with a Rallycross track. So, and the way the program is going to go tonight, we will have 2 heats, an LCQ, and the main event at the end of the night. I decided to throw in an LCQ kind of last minute that hadn't been mentioned or considered up until half an hour ago. So 9 drivers will transfer out of this heat into the main event. And then we will have that LCQ later tonight with whoever else did not make it into the main to decide the other 2 drivers to make up the field of 20 for the main event. On the front row, we've got David Bird and Dave Steele Jr. As you can see, BMW and Subaru. It's going to get kind of difficult because there's so many different manufacturers being represented in this rally style racing. Then you've got Rich Roy in the Audi and Anheuser-Wagner in the Mazda. Andrew Moger as well in the Mazda, racing for Atlee Weiss in the Jap Car program. And then Cannon Gage in the Cadillac. Then you got John Hagan in the Hyundai. Jamie Horseman in the Audi. And Kevin Xavier in a Hyundai. Scott Speed in a BMW. Kyle Ottawa in the Dodge Challenger. Lucas Holmes also in a Challenger. Luis Rodriguez and Paulo Ladino. As you can see, we've got quite a heavy load of Dodge Challengers in the event here tonight. 8 laps for Heat 1. 9 will transfer to the main event.
Gentlemen, start your engines.
And so yeah, we'll be in for just a little bit different action here tonight. Have not test trialed this track. I don't know how rally tracks do with the frame rate, so everything here is a bit of an experiment tonight.
Oh yeah, I hear you loud and clear.
The way it works, the 14 drivers in this first heat are each representing one of the 14 teams. And so between the 2 heats, each team of course has 2 entries. One team driver represented in each heat. Going into the first turn here at Daytona, we're going to have a whole 3-week span here of Daytona with the Rallycross, superspeedway, and road course to mix it all up. And David Bird holding the lead right now, going through the dirt section. Coming back onto the backstretch of the oval track here. Dave Steele settling into second for now, but might be looking to try and mount a charge on that 13 car. Heard you loud and clear, Centennial. I will try to do as close of a play-by-play call as I can so that you can listen to it and know what's going on. Lap 1 in the books here of the 8-lap heat. David Bird still leading over Dave Steele Jr. Rich Roy up to 3rd, Andrew Moger in 4th, and Anheuser-Wagner in 5th. It seems to be a bit of an equalizer having these cars go from dirt to pavement, pavement back to dirt. little bit more ebb and flow when it comes to the momentum of the cars behind the leader here. Seem pretty single file right now, but I could see that 35 car. It's got a little bit extra in the tank. Ooh, Rich Roy going up high there on Dave Steele. Roy making a pass on the outside, going deep. Wow, he almost clipped the wall there. That was quite the move from the 29 car. He's carrying that momentum. He's going to try to pass David Bird on the outside here as well. Going into the last segment before the start-finish line, Rich Roy is now your new leader here tonight. And let's kind of look at the bubble spot here. Looks like Hagen's in a transfer position. Kevin Xavier in a transfer position. Scott Speed is your first driver who would be going to the LCQ here if it ended on this lap. Looks like Cannon Gage making a move on Walkner there. Having some good action on track. Few entries, obviously with the turmoil that fell through. Not going to have paint schemes on them, so the 90 there of Jamie Horseman still waiting on a wrap to get delivered to the team. Tonight was able to make it for the field, just driving a primer gray number 90. Rich Roy has pretty much checked out, it looks like. Dave Steele Jr. now up to second. And Andrew Moger up to third. David Bird slots his way back into fourth. Cannon Gage now up to fifth. Rich Roy, definitely an interesting story, is he has not contested any racing in NSSR Offline NASCAR racing, and got kind of a good deal to come his way to drive in the Bridge to Cup as his maiden voyage, and perhaps going to be a threat. I don't think anyone saw that coming, as this is his first laps of competition here, leading the way. Very impressive debut so far. So another topic of debate in this Bridge to Cup spectacular is going to be the manufacturer battle. We're going to have, obviously, a driver championship to decide who graduates up into the Cup Series. The winner of the Bridgestone Bridge to Cup gets an automatic graduation into the Cup Series, a full-time ride guaranteed for the following year. Way it'll work out, they will, if they win the championship, roll right into the Cup season at the closing races of the year to get their feet wet. And that's really the only way that you're eligible for the Bridge to Cup, is not being in the Cup Series. I know in the trucks we don't have any rules regulating people from running between it and Cup. Obviously, it's one of the bigger fields that we house, since you got an East and a West division of it. But the Bridge Cup, definitely the kind of the cream of the crop, with the drivers that have proven themselves in the trucks maybe, and are looking to take that next step up into Cup. So we have 2 laps remaining here. Fastest lap set by Rich Roy, which comes as no surprise as he's leading. Dave Steele Jr. in second. Andrew Moger in third. David Bird from the pole drops back into fourth. Anheuser Wagner fifth. Ken Gage in sixth. John Hagan in seventh. And now Scott Speed in a transfer position, but this could get chaotic here as you see 4 cars all lined up nose to tail for that transfer spot. We're going to keep our focus on this group for now and see just how crazy it gets. There you go, Jamie Horseman making a move on the inside. Looks like he's going to secure the position with ease, actually. As Scott Speed also now under attack by Kevin Xavier. Man, it almost made contact with each other there. Jamie Horseman starting to grow a gap between these other contenders. They carry so much speed going into this dirt section here, it's crazy. This is where we saw Rich Roy make up all that time to take the lead. We're going to get the white flag here. Scott Speed is outside the transfer spot. One more lap around the rally circuit here at Daytona for heat number 1. So far, looks like our non-transfers are going to be Kevin Xavier, Lucas Holmes, Kyle Ottawa, Luis Rodriguez, and Paulo Ladino. But this one right here could still make a change. As you see, Scott Speed making up the momentum, closing the gap on Jamie Horseman. Side by side going around turn 3 here at Daytona. They've also got the 51 there of Cannon Gage. Wow, what a move by Scott Speed as he closes the gap even now with Cannon Gage. Kisses the wall there, and no worries for Scott Speed as he's going to transfer with ease. Cannon Gage will get your last transfer spot, sending Jamie Horseman to the LCQ. Oh wait, I had it a little bit off. Jamie will go on, but Lucas Holmes is going to get sent to the LCQ. So 9th place, Horseman gets 9th, Lucas Holmes 10th. Kevin Xavier will go to the LCQ, Luis Rodriguez to the LCQ, Kyle Ottawa, and Paul Ladino. Rich Roy wins that first heat in style. Dave Steele finishes 2nd. Andrew Moger comes home 3rd. John Hagan in 5th. Anheuser Wagner in 6th. Scott Speed in 7th. David Bird was our 4th place finisher. Cannon Gage and Jamie Horseman, your first round of transfers. So just a brief intermission here as I get prepped for heat number 2.
Greg, did you have any ignition problems?
It's going to be so nice that we have racing action in real life back this weekend with the NASCAR Clash at the Coliseum.
Favor, just touch all your seatbelts, touch all your connections, touch your Hans. Just make sure you get everything like you want it.
Alrighty, and so on to the next heat here tonight. And how fitting is it that Kyler Sestre, teammate to Rich Roy, starting on the front row here, perhaps looking to see what he can do at matching his teammate with a heat win tonight. Starting alongside Bradley Ream in the 19. Then you got Ryan Little and GP Luxembourg, Gannon Bird and Alan Malcolm, Santi Messi and Jack Davis, Osiel Escobar and Roach, Craig Bush and Braden Hunt, followed by Noah Hobson and Chasey Plays here for heat number 2.
Gentlemen, start your engines. Dad, you got your radio on over there? Yeah, 10-4. Can you hear me?
It really is nice having a little bit more racing action in this series compared to a single standard race like we do in the Trucks and Cup. This recipe seems to be exciting for different opportunities. Get to see drivers that might get an opportunity to make up for a mistake they made in a previous heat or something. So going on, here we go. Green flag waving. Sestre off to the early lead. 2 by 2 by 2 they go into the first turn. Bradley Ream carrying a lot of momentum there. Looks like he's going to catch up to that 24 car. And on the backstretch at Daytona, it looks like he's going to carry that momentum into the turn. They don't make contact, come very close to it. Driving through the grass, but I think Bradley Ream's going to come out on top. So Bradley Ream takes the lead. Kyler Sestre in second. Gannon Bird in third, and then Alan Malcolm in fourth. Ryan Little fifth. Santi Messi sixth. GP Luxembourg seventh. And then you got Osiel Escobar running eighth right now, holding off a whole bunch. Oh, and we got a wreck going up into the front stretch of Daytona. And that looks to be game over for a couple drivers. That'll be sending them to the LCQ. Let's go ahead and watch a replay on that one. Trying to figure out who the prime suspect here. Looked like it was kind of a domino effect. The 50 gets behind the 84, clips the 84. So Santi Messi taking out GP Luxembourg there. No caution comes out. It looks like we'll stay green through the chaos. And then Jack Davis, yeah, Davis went for a bit of a tumble there. Getting clipped just at the right angle that it actually flipped his car over on the front stretch. Oh, yeah, we do get a caution though. Go ahead and clear out the yellow so we'll get back to racing on lap 5. So first bit of chaos that we've actually witnessed here in the Bridge to Cup series, which was kind of to be expected. The whole combination of racing through the dirt onto pavement just seemed like a perfect formula for disaster. And so we got our first we got our first tidbit of destruction there. Currently, as they run, it's still Kyler Sestre leading, now over Alan Malcolm, Bradley Ream, Gannon Bird, Ryan Little, Asiel Escobar, Santi Messi, and Braden Hunt. Your final transfer position belongs to Roach in the 66. Then you've got the 22 of Noah Hobson, the 11 of Craig Bush, and the 49 of Chasey Plays. Looks like we might have a taker down pit road with Craig Bush here. Oh, and there's good reason for it too, as the whole front end of that car is crunched up. So, looks like we might have a couple takers for the LCQ already determined here. Currently out of the running, the 09 of Jack Davis and the 84 of GP Luxembourg. The 11 might try to get that damage repaired. Yep, so he's going to take the hood off and try to continue this race to try and get into the main event. It's actually very doable since the field is so small. All he's got to do is find his way up to 9th, currently sitting in 12th. With some luck, Craig Bush could make the transfer, and then they'll be able to make repairs to get that car back to normal for the main event tonight. Lights are out on the pace car. We will be getting back to green this time by. Side by side for the double file restart. And we're back and going here. It's going to be a frantic 3 laps to figure out who transfers on to the main event. Kyler Sestre and Alan Malcolm now charging on that outside. Malcolm blows by the 24 to take the lead here. And it's 3 by 3 almost for the transfer position in the back. 11 still running at the tail end here. But with a little luck, could possibly eke his way in. These 3 right there would be knocked out. Braden Hunt in the 4 would be your first car in as they run. Osiel Escobar running in 6th. Roach in 7th. Alan Malcolm leading the way. Many of the crews on the infield getting to work on fixing those cars that were just wrecked. The 09 of Jack Davis and the 84 of GP Luxembourg. They do have backup cars in case they need to pull them out. Sounds like they're trying to fix what they've got for now, as that LCQ will be coming up real shortly here. With only 2 laps remaining in Heat 2. LCQ to start right afterwards. Battle for the lead continues to stay very hot, as you got the 24 of Sestre getting back by Malcolm here. Sestre holds it for now. Malcolm with a hard charge on the outside. LFG Motorsports will be proud of the venture here from Malcolm. Getting that lead going into the front side of Daytona. Sestre slots his way into 2nd. Gannon Bird now up to 3rd. Bradley Ream in 4th. Santi Messi on the outside of him, fighting for 5th and 4th. And the battle up front's where it's at, though. I keep looking back and then looking up to the front. These 3 just have not settled down. And since I haven't really put much emphasis on this series yet, we will award points for heat winners. So that goes to show why these guys are racing that hard for the win. Kyler Sestre could get the bonus points here, or maybe Gannon Bird. But ultimately, Alan Malcolm wants a say in it too. So 3 guys here fighting for that win. White flag waving in the air. 1 more lap around the circuit. Kyler Sestre over Malcolm and Bird. And it's getting interesting here for the transfer spot, as the 11 of Craig Bush sitting in 10th. Just needs 1 more spot here. Oh shoot, Osiel Escobar has dropped to 10th. Oh, we had another failure. So the 21 of Ryan Little had a camshaft failure. So that moved everyone up respectively 1 spot in the battle for the transfer. And that gives Craig Bush the transfer spot into the main event, as he sits in 9th, Noah Hobson in 10th, and Osiel Escobar looking like he might have to go to the LCQ here tonight. LCQ really is a lifesaver, as it'll give some of these guys 1 more opportunity to race their way in. Craig Bush making another move. Man, that car does not seem like it's damaged, as he's fighting for position against Chasey Plays. Oh, no, Hobson making a bold move there, and they're wrecking coming to the front stretch. Right across the line, Hobson gets spun out by Asiel Escobar. Goes to show you how hard those two wanted to try and make the main event here, as Asiel Escobar just kind of ran right through Noah Hobson. It's like, nope, if you can't make it, neither can I, kind of thing. So it'll be Escobar and Hobson joining the eliminated in this race for the LCQ tonight. But our transfers, we missed the action at the front because we're watching the transfer spot in the back. It looks like Sestre pulled off the win here. Alan Malcolm comes home second. Gannon Bird, I believe, to be third. Yep. Then Bradley Ream in fourth. Roach coming home fifth. Santi Messi in sixth. Chasey Plays coming home eighth. Braden Hunt was your seventh place driver. Craig Bush transfers in even with the significant damage on the front end of that Dodge Challenger. So now we get the very exciting LCQ event that will end up sending 8 drivers home. 10 drivers for as many laps as we ran the heats here for 8 laps. And so just a brief intermission here. Go ahead and go to the bathroom, grab a drink, sit tight as we get prepped for the LCQ. So, a little bit of recap here. In the first heat, we saw the 29 of, and I'm going to have to get good with names because there's so many new names and new places. We had the 29 car win it over Dave Steele Jr., Andrew Moger, John Hagen, and Anheuser Walkner. And then in the second one, we saw Kyler Sestre, and we did see some carnage in that second one. We did see Kyler Sestre win it. We did see a wreck on the front stretch. Perhaps we'll see another wreck here in the LCQ, especially since only 2 will transfer onto the main event from the LCQ.
Start your engines!
Starting on the front row, we've got Kyle Ottawa and Ryan Little, followed by Kevin Xavier and GP Luxembourg, Lucas Holmes and Jack Davis, Asiel Escobar and Luis Rodriguez, and then at the very tail end there, you've got Noah Hobson and Paulo Ladino. So re-rack them, run another 8 laps, this time with only 10 cars to determine the remainder of our lineup for the main event here tonight. Green flag waving, they're going through the dirt track part of it. Onto the Daytona front straight, here we go. Top 2, moving on. So drag race down the front straight. Cal Ottawa, surprisingly, Ottawa didn't show much strength in his heat. Putting a good run at the front of the field right now. Obviously, I think it'll take 8 laps for the speed of these cars to kind of sort themselves out. You see Asiel Escobar making a move on the inside, getting into 5th. Hard charge into that turn there. Pushing the other car into the grass. Escobar this time going into the grass on his side of the track. The side-by-side racing is only allowing for those leaders to stretch it out in front of them. GP Luxembourg quite a distance out in front. 3 wide. Ooh, and that could have been dangerous. Noah Hobson and Jack Davis survive what could have been catastrophic collision there. And Escobar dropping back now. It seems like he's struggling with the momentum. Oh, it's a good thing that we're doing short races because I think we just had a crash here. Which I kind of figured with the Rallycross setup that we would have some gremlins problems because there's so much going on with these tracks. So not all is lost. Obviously, the shorter races allow us to put together a quick recovery. I think my streaming and everything should work out just fine without having to reset anything. But this is the troubleshooting. Obviously, I know that this was going to be pushing it very, very much on the envelope of what streaming capabilities we've got with the 20-year-old game that we've got here.
Touch all your seatbelts, touch all your connections.
Gentlemen, start your engines!
It does not like accelerating. Holy cow. Okay. Okay, test trial number 2. A little bit different front row this time as you've got Xavier alongside Little, Escobar and Holmes 3rd and 4th, Ottawa and Davis, Luxembourg and Rodriguez, with Hobson and Ladino at the very back.
Oh yeah, I hear you loud.
So quick recovery here. We'll consider the other one a glitch, crash, catastrophic failure. And it seems like our ticker's gonna work just fine on recovery. Yep, so I didn't have to reset anything on the ticker side. Back in racing here at Daytona. Xavier off to the early lead. Ryan Little in second, about to get passed by Osiel Escobar for second. Escobar now slots his way into P2. Well, not for long though. Little charging on the outside gets that position back. Hard charge from Escobar again, trying to make the move. See if he's actually going to make it count this time. Bumping and banging for that position. Escobar gets second. Ryan Little struggling a little bit on that high side. Now up to third, Lucas Holmes. And he's going to try to give Escobar a little bit of a run for the money here. Leading the first lap, it's Kevin Xavier over Osiel Escobar. Third place, Lucas Holmes. Fourth place, Kyle Ottawa. Fifth place, Ryan Little. And I'd like to think if the game gets its crashing out of the way early that we should be good for the rest of it here. Obviously, I just gave it the commentator's curse. I jinxed it, I'm sure. And we'll have to cross that bridge when it comes. Oh, and there's a wreck at the back of the field there. The 21 of Ryan Little. Caution does not wave. And so let's see. That was just a 3 wide. Looks to be minimal damage for the 21. And we do get a caution out of the deal, so it'll give everyone an opportunity to get caught back up and another restart to I don't believe we're going to see any takers down pit road with it being a shorter race as it is. If anyone were to pit, it would have been Ryan Little to give some minor adjustments on what possible damage he could have sustained there. But looks like he's going to stay out. We'll get the one to go this time, so lights are off on the pace car. Our two transfers as they run is Kevin Xavier and Osiel Escobar. Of course, they're going to have to get double file, so we never know what's going to happen when you get side by side for a restart. It's usually when the chaos strikes. Escobar should have the advantage, though, as usually the AI in NR2003 gives second place the outside. And it seems like the outside usually prevails with momentum on passing the leader 9 times out of 10 throughout NR2003. The only catch, though, on obviously this track, the first turn they go into is on the dirt, and you kind of throw out any stats you have from the oval racing side of things, or even your road course racing for that, because this doesn't even really compare to that. So the Rallycross really does add an extra wrinkle to the whole facet of racing. Well, maybe perhaps it's going to be single file. I don't think I got better cautions turned back on in time, but either way, single file restart should be cleaner this way. Going into the first turn, green flag waving, and here we go. Halfway through the LCQ. Escobar going high, trying to get around the outside of Xavier here. Hard charge from Escobar, hunting on the inside, but not getting the momentum. It looks like Lucas Holmes actually with the charge along the back bumper of Escobar. Going into the bus stop here. Escobar about to be under attack by Holmes, but Escobar uses his momentum to his advantage there, closes the door on the 26 car. Xavier, pretty lengthy lead right now in first place. Fourth place, Kyle Ottawa. Oh, and this could be trouble if Holmes gets to the back bumper of Escobar. We've seen them get a little bit rowdy in that dirt section to the start-finish line. Escobar should start to grow a gap here to give himself a bit of a safety buffer. With that, he's kind of stretching it out on the 26. 26 actually now under attack by Kyle Ottawa. So we'll watch that battle. And it has come to my attention that the ticker is kind of out of sorts, which is to be expected when the game crashed like it did. None of those stats are correct, so as I'm calling it, those are the correct running order, not the one that's shown on screen. So, Escobar still in a transfer spot, running second. We're 2 laps to go this time by. Third place, Lucas Holmes. Fourth place, Kyle Ottawa. Fifth place, Jack Davis. Sixth place, Noah Hobson. 7th place, Ryan Little. 8th place, Luis Rodriguez. 9th is GP Luxembourg with Paul Ladino running in 10th. Kevin Xavier putting on a clinic here in the LCQ, leading pretty dominantly, and that would give LFG Motorsports their second entry for the main event tonight, as the one of Alan Malcolm won his heat. Well, finished second. He qualified through the heat. White flag waving this time by. It's going to be Escobar having to hold off a hard charging Lucas Holmes on this last lap. With our focus now set solely on these two drivers, I imagine Lucas Holmes is going to give it everything he's got to try and push it by the number 8 car. Osiel takes that high line here. It's kind of bumpy there, as you can see. They've been making that bump all night long. And it scrubs a lot of speed, it seems. There's some of them that find a faster way through there than others. The bus stop, which should be the standard bus stop on the Daytona road course as it is. And then going through turn 3 at Daytona here, they're getting towards the end of the lap. There's one more dirt segment before they get to the start-finish line. Lucas Holmes might try to take this advantage to close the gap, catching up to the back bumper of Escobar, trying to push it as hard as he can here. Are we going to see the bump? Are we going to see a wreck? Doesn't look like it. Escobar is going to hold off and qualify for the main event here, joining Xavier as your 2 transfers from the LCQ into the main event. And that rounds up our 20 drivers locked into the main event here tonight. And so just one more brief intermission here as we get the roster set up for the main event. Going forward, this is going to be kind of the standard procedure, at least for the Rallycross races. We will have a full field of 28 next week at Daytona, so there won't be any intermissions. It'll just be straight racing. But the Rallycross racing, this is the method that we will have for at least Rallycrossing. So and the drivers that did get knocked out will get points for their positions. So 21st back to 28th will get points for their position that they finished. They just won't be able to. They won't be able to make up any more points than that for the day. So top 20 still having a shot here to win and get more points and have a better showing than what they may have had from their heats and LCQ. So okay, so the field is set. We will get qualifying sped through here.
Favor, just touch all your seatbelts, touch all your connections, touch your Hans. Just make sure you get everything like
So, starting on the front row, you've got Bradley Ream and Dave Steele Jr. Behind them, you've got Rich Roy and John Hagan, Cannon Gage and Anheuser Wagner, Kyler Sestre and Andrew Moger, David Bird and Roach, Alan Malcolm and Osiel Escobar, Santi Messi and Gannon Bird, Jamie Horseman and Scott Speed, Braden Hunt and Kevin Xavier, and Craig Bush with the repairs made to his car, joining at the back end here with Chasey Plays. 24 laps of racing action here at the Daytona Rallycross circuit. And this will be for all the marbles. The season opening race win on a Rallycross track.
how quick the commitment line comes up on you and the where you're there. Don't let him speed to the short box right there. Second was on the green flag, wear him out. Even if he says he understands, keep wearing him out. To pit off from turn 4. Was just love him. Keep calm, man. It's going to be a long, long hunt.
Pace car is off, green flag waving in the air. Let's get ready and roaring. For the first time tonight, 20 cars come charging through turn 1. Bradley Ream with the early lead here. We saw quite a bit of speed out of Dave Steele in that 35 in the first heat, and there we go, right on the high side, blow him by the 19. Dave Steele Jr., your new leader. Bradley Ream slots his way into second, Rich Roy in third, John Hagan in fourth. Fighting with Cannon Gage in fifth there. Oh, and we're going to have yet again another crash. So this... And from my testing, I think the Daytona Rally track is probably the most intensive on actually streaming. So if we can make it past tonight, I think we'll be golden for the rest of the season. So it seemed like a grand scheme idea to do the Rallycross tracks. I know that the game's trying to compute. It's probably honestly thinking that there's something wrong with the game, with the cars racing on dirt and doing all this stuff that usually was not intended in NR2003. So just another brief hiccup here. At least everything's already preset here, so we should be back and rolling right away.
Favor, touch all your seatbelts, touch all your connections, touch your trigger, everything like you want it. Favor, touch all your seatbelts. Driver! Favor, touch all your seatbelts, touch all your connections, touch your Hans.
Okay,
Trigger, everything
so
like you want it.
reset the front row. Andrew Moger and Anheuser Wachner 1-2. Your pole setters from the initial start with Dave Steele Jr. and Bradley Ream right there behind them. John Hagan and Rich Roy. Kyler Sestre and David Bird. And the rest of the field, as you can see there, pretty well similar into the first run as we are on the second run here. Green flag waving and off we go again. Just more opportunities for chaos to strike. Andrew Moger off to the early lead. Dave Steele Jr., we saw him blow by to take the lead in the first set. Could he possibly do it again here? Not gonna quite get the job done, as Wachner on the high side looking to make it interesting with Moger. Moger's your leader going into the bus stop. Wachner fighting side by side. Wachner gonna get a little bit of momentum there and lose it. There you go, 1, 2, 3. It's Moger, Wachner, and Dave Steele Jr. Albeit a little bit ratchety, it looks like we're going to get the first lap completed here. We should hopefully get lined out and running. There we go, going through the dirt again. And it's Moger with a pretty solid lead at the moment. And a crash in the same spot. So that's roughly I don't know what the warning is there. So we'll try it with the ticker disabled. We'll try it one more time here because it seemed like after the ticker was disabled for that LCQ that we were able to get racing and not having any problems. Although it's a nice tool to have, it's neat having the ticker. We can just roll with the call, try to get everything working like that. So apologies everyone. I know that it's getting annoying with the imminent crashes here.
Touch all your connections, touch your trigger, everything like you want it. Favor, touch all your
Might just find out that we can't do the Daytona Rallycross track.
touch all your connections, touch your Hans, just make sure you get everything like you want it.
So go ahead and
coming to you.
If this fails again, we might have to resort to ulterior motives such as possibly going to the Discord channel and streaming from Discord. But hopefully we don't have to do that. So like I mentioned, the ticker is down. We're going to run it without the ticker to see if that solves our problem. Whoa, what a charge there by the 29 of Rich Roy. Blow him by the 35 of Steele there. David Bird, 3 wide now with Scott Speed and Cannon Gage. Moger right there behind them. Going into the bus stop here. Dave Steele starts to gap those behind him. Looks pretty clean through the first lap here so far. Roach taking up the tail end of the field. Rich Roy coming hard through the dirt here. Gonna have to defend against Dave Steele in second. Here we go, lap 1 in the books of 24. It's impressive what Rich Roy's doing here, being his debut in the series. Wow, and we got a caution. Oh, Asiel Escobar and a whole group of, there's a group of them that got involved in a wreck here. I believe the 19 of Bradley Ream involved. He clips the 78 of Moger, and that blows Moger right into the wall. 2 cars flying over each other, collecting the 11 of Craig Bush and the 66 of Roach. How did Asiel Escobar get involved in this? Escobar, it looks like his damage is going to be pretty significant here as he came at full speed into the 78. Wow, that was weird. Perhaps hit the 19 that was flying through the air. So Escobar out early, as well as Moger and Ream. Craig Bush likely out, so that'll put us down to about 15 cars if all of these retirements stick. So front stretch chaos. It's been the crazy zone all night. Now Escobar still running. Not smoking, so perhaps we'll see. Sounds like it's running pretty weak though. Yeah, it's still smoking. So Escobar probably gonna be on his way to retiring there. With all chaos aside, though, it looks like Rich Roy and Dave Steele Jr. might be looking to put on a battle at the front of the field here. Still got David Bird and John Hagan within the picture. Cannon Gage could be an interesting one to keep your eyes on. The 51 purple car there. And obviously the stakes are higher in the Bridge to Cup, with the Cup Series as a bargaining chip for the winner. It's going to be fascinating to watch all these storylines develop throughout the season. First race, obviously you can't win the championship in the first race. And with the way that the championship stretch is decided, it's going to be even more crazy with a bracket style championship where whoever is seed number 1 will end up going right up against seed 28 in the first round of the bracket. Got to start to think some of these drivers might want to play the points game there. Think about it. Wouldn't you rather, well, and honestly, as long as you're in the top 14, you've got pretty, safe bet on who you're going to be up against. It's going to be the people who are 15th or worse that'll have bad picks for their bracket and stuff. Think about it. Number 2 seed will face the number 27 seed, so that should be a given that your number 2 seed would end up winning that matchup. But you never know. That's why it's a sport. Competition gets the best of people. Some people end up choking under the pressure. So we'll see just what kind of a championship it'll turn into at the end of the year. Thanks for tuning in, James. I apologize. It's been stressful and yeah. So maybe not tonight, but I'll try to get back to you. So obviously this was going to be harder than it looked at first when I was concerned that the streaming for these rally races were going to be tedious, especially with OBS and all the tickers and stuff. Obviously, the troubles I'm having, you probably would have had the same troubles yourself on the streaming side of things. So. And okay, good. It's like the cars disappeared there. Good, we're good, we're good. Obviously, the ticker is lying to everyone right now. We are on lap 5 of 24. Leader is Rich Roy over Dave Steele Jr. and David Bird. John Hagan in 4th. Cannon Gage in 5th. Dave Steele making a pass on the inside here with Rich Roy. Ooh. And there it gets closer and closer all the way through the racing action here. Dave Steele Jr. gets that position. Rich Roy settling into 2nd. And no gimmicks here. Obviously, it's going to be 24 laps of straight racing action to determine the winner tonight. With our heats and LCQ, there's no stoppage. We're just going to roll right through 24 laps on the Rallycross track here. Wow, that was a hairy situation there. Almost looked like the 29 was going to bump the rear bumper of the 35. And for the first time tonight, single file just about all the way through the racing line there. Dave Steele definitely showing some impressive speed here. Yes, so the ones retired in the race we've got out is the 66 of Roach, the 19 of Bradley Ream, the 8 of Osiel Escobar, the 11 of Craig Bush, and the 78 of Andrew Moger, unfortunately. As you can see there, we still have 15 cars running. But the chaos of that initial wreck took out a big chunk of contenders here. So thanks for everyone posting a vote there. As I've already mentioned, unfortunately, it just got to, test trial things by baptism by fire with some of this stuff. As touchy as this 20-year-old game can be sometimes. Single file, and Dave Steele actually starting to stretch out the lead here. Now, one thing I don't know for sure is if we're actually going to see green flag pit stops on the Rallycross circuit. The hard part, knowing the AI of NR2003, the dirt and all the craziness, it usually might jar the cars and cause unexpected damage. So hopefully, if we do end up with green flag pit stops, we don't see any drivers that drop off because of damage sustained driving through the dirt. It's always possible and might be something I need to test going forward to see if we need to disable pit frequencies within these Rallycross races. So far, it looks like the 29 of Rich Roy closing that gap back up, using every square inch of the track to try and close up on Dave Steele Jr. And update on our lap count, we are on lap 10 of 24, so not quite halfway. Quick run through on the field with our top two there. Obviously, we've got David Bird in third, John Hagan in fourth, Kyler Sestre in fifth, Scott Speed and Cannon Gage, and this looks like it could be drum. Oh, and there's some wrecking going on right there as the camera caught it. Caution flag waving. Let's get a replay on exactly how that all went down. Oh, it looks like the 90 of Jammy Horseman might have got through without too much damage. It definitely looked Oh, the one. Alan Malcolm is not going to walk away from that one. So we'll do a camera switch here, see which camera angle we've got the best view of it. Yeah, the 90, kind of a glancing blow, but that open wall there just caught the one. And that might be all she wrote for Alan Malcolm here tonight. Looks like that'll be the majority of that, though. Watch it at full speed here. Yeah, the glancing blow by the 90, but that, like a lawn dart, just colliding into that the out jutting wall there for the number one. So we're at our halfway point here, 12 of 24 laps completed. Dave Steele Jr. leads over Rich Roy, over David Bird, Kyler Sestre, John Hagan, Scott Speed, Cannon Gage, Gannon Bird, Anheuser Walkner, Santi Messi, Braden Hunt, Chasey Plays, Kevin Xavier, and Jamie Horseman. Back in racing, here we go. Hard charging the two teammates for NCTX. Oh, and they're wrecking. Oh, no. Second and third. And a whole bunch of them, it doesn't look like is going to make it through there. Wow. Well, the 24 of Sestre makes it through. But I was just about to hype up for Brian DeBlank and his NCTX North Central Texas Motorsports team that they were running second and third there. And unfortunately, chaos struck for both of them as the 95 of Scott Speed just clips the 24. That collects Rich Roy on the 46 of Gannon Bird, gets some significant damage there. Dave Steele Jr. At least Sestre makes it through in second there. But truly chaotic restart there with our second, third place drivers getting collected. So yet again, under caution. We're going to have to get rolling again here. Try to get the restart as quickly as possible. And there we have the 29 of Rich Roy sitting on pit road with significant damage to that machine. Unfortunately, his debut that was looking promising here tonight comes to an end. So, beneficiary to all this, John Hagan now up to second. Our 20-car field has shrunk in half down to what looks to be about 10 cars left running. Just a little bit over halfway. Yep, as you can see now 12 cars remaining. The 29 unfortunately suffered enough damage that they disqualified him. Wait, they DQ'd the 35 as well. How in the world did they disqualify? What are the grounds for disqualification? Was there an illegal pass? What? Yeah, we're really starting to learn the ins and outs of what's going on with these rallycross races. Was there anything that Dave Steele was deemed at fault of here? DQ'd from the lead. That's just too weird. As they wreck behind him. Caution waves. I do not see why he would be disqualified. The 29 also got disqualified, so they had a pair of disqualifications for some reason. And I can only imagine that it's got something to do with the track layout, with the we'll ignore that DQ for now. I don't see the 35 pulling off, or even letting off the throttle for that matter. If anyone should have been DQ'd, it should have been the driver of the 95, Scott Speed, who caused the wreck to happen right here. So I don't exactly get it. We'll let it roll out and see how it plays. Oh, and there is more wrecking happening behind him. Dave Steele is not pulling off. This is one of those things that I think he's fighting the rules that be to try and stay in the mix here. With the DQ, he should be dropping down in the running order. So that DQ may be incorrect anyways. So more chaos strikes here, this time with the 95. Seems to be the catalyst for these crazy restarts. 95 of Scott Speed, who is a renowned rallycross driver in real life. Looks like the 49 of Chasey Plays just hooks him. And he takes a good old tumble there through turns 3 and 4 on the Daytona superspeedway layout. So Dave Steele Jr. still credited with the lead right now. Looks like we'll probably have another retirement there with the 95. Soon to be, yep, out of the race. So you would think once we get down to this few cars running, we should be able to make it the rest of the way without another caution. For those of you that aren't seeing it, if you look at the standard NR2003 standings box, it shows that Dave Steele Jr. is disqualified. So that's where my confusion lies right now, is what the game is actually doing and why it decided that the 35 should receive a DQ. So seems that the game made a mistake there on crediting him with a DQ because he's still running and has not shown any inkling of inclination to go down pit road. And I'll just keep that up so everyone can see. You can see that the lap count is 18 of 24. Current running order is Dave Steele Jr., John Hagan, David Bird, Kyler Sestre, Cannon Gage, Braden Hunt, Kevin Xavier, Anheuser Walkner, Jamie Horseman, and Chasey Plays. Those are your last standing here in the main event tonight. Half the field has been knocked out in the chaos that has unraveled. Here we go. Restart. Hopefully the last one for tonight, as it's been a chaotic second half of the race here. Hagen with a good push here on the inside of Dave Steele. Hard charge going into the bus stop. Hagen going to get alongside of Dave Steele here. Good battle. 88 gets to the lead. Dave Steele second, now falling to third behind Sustre. Now is where we'll actually see if the 35 has to come down to serve a penalty of any sort. But it doesn't look like there's any reason for that, as he's going to push the envelope and try to fight for the second position here. Going through the dirt, coming out on the front asphalt here. This is an interesting one. I've never seen a driver with a DQ completing laps around the circuit. That is just too weird. Sustre fighting with Hagen for the win here. 4 laps remaining. Whoa, Steele. Full head of steam. Gives Sustre a bump. Sustre gonna rebound here. Keep that position maybe. But ends up losing it for the time being. Dave Steele bullied his way through there to take second. Sustre now dropping, perhaps trying to recover. Sustre now fighting for position on Kevin Xavier here. Oh, and David Bird with a hard charge. David Bird now up to 4th. Sustre dropping like a rock. Now Dave Steele's got his sights set on John Hagen at the front of the field. That JSR Hyundai entry leading the way. Trackhouse B right there behind him in the Subaru. Could see one of the biggest firsts ever, a DQ driver winning a race. I don't know how that's possible, but we might see it. Dave Steele carrying the momentum, driving through the dirt here, closing that gap up to Hagen. This has been the exciting part of the track, watching him come onto the front straight and dive into the dirt here. Seems like there's a lot to be gained and lost in the moves made through this tricky segment. Now we got 3 cars for the fight with just 3 laps remaining. Hopefully we can stay caution-free and watch this one play out. I'll go ahead and disable this. We know who's running 1, 2, 3. Give us a better shot of the racing on track. Wow, they are hooked up like trailers. Dave Steele gets a nose on the outside of Hagen here. Let's see if he's going to carry that momentum. Hagen closes the door. Dave Steele Jr. just riding that bumper like a madman. Hagen is simply trying to survive here. I don't think he's going to be able to hold off Dave Steele. Two laps this time by. Flagman is getting ready to grab that white flag for the next time they come around the circuit. It's nice that the carnage has kind of subsided and we've been treated to a good finish of the race here. And Dave Steele's going to have at least one more opportunity to make it count here. He's getting alongside John Hagan. Hagan going to defend as hard as he can to keep this lead, keep the win in his pocket. White flag waving. Dave Steele overdrove it, just cooked a little too hard there trying to catch up to Hagan. Hagan starting to drive away. Man, it's a battle of the beers. I just now realized that between Budweiser and Busch Light. Hagan currently winning it with the Budweiser. Dave Steele still fighting hard with the Busch Light. And now we might even have a third contender in the mix here as Kevin Xavier peeks on the inside. Dave Steele seems to have lost a little bit of traction here. And currently, John Hagan driving away with it. Not much left in the race as he comes around turn 3 on the superspeedway. Diving into the dirt here, mid-corner. And rejoins the track on the front stretch. All Hagan's got to do is make it through the dirt zone. And it's going to be John Hagan at the line to get the inaugural Bridge to Cup Rallycross race win here. Way to go, John Hagan. Putting on a very Kevin Harvick-esque finish to the race there. Kind of came from nowhere. We had seen Rich Roy and Dave Steele Jr. dominate the first half of the race. And Hagan comes out on top. Carnage in the second half really knocked out half the field, so we got to see a little bit of everything tonight. Some good racing at the finish. A lot of retirements due to crazy wrecks. We saw a few tumbles. Kevin Xavier in his series debut, finishing with a solid second there. Kyler Sestre, after having made many truck starts last year, proven that he may be a contender here in the Bridge to Cup. Dave Steele Jr., just kind of a heartbreak for him as he had what looked to be the winningest car, or the fastest car with possibility of winning it tonight. Cannon Gage with a solid top 5. Chasey Plays kind of eked his way into a solid position there with 6th. And there we have it. The first ever Rallycross race in Bridge to Cup history. And Hagan gets his second career win in the NSSR Offline series. We saw him get Chevy the first win in trucks. And in kind of spectacular fashion gets Hyundai their first win in the Bridge to Cup series. So as you can see, the total chaos at the end of the race here. 10 cars finished out of the 20 that were trying for the win. So overall, besides the technical difficulties with the new track and obviously having to disable the ticker to get the actual race to go through, I say that was pretty good racing. So we're going to have a couple more Rallycross races like that on the schedule. Expect more of the same, the unexpected, chaos, craziness, all the above. And John Hagan gets to roll out of here with the points lead. So like I mentioned, the heats, we will have points awarded for heat wins. So there's going to be some extracurricular points earned throughout the races in the season. Next week, we won't have any heats as it'll be on the Daytona Superspeedway Oval. with all 28 entries running at once. So there's just a lot going on in this series. So overall, transition from Sylvania Busch Light Series to the Bridgestone Bridge to Cup racing. This will be our new standard for the Bridge to Cup races going forward. And congratulations again to John Hagan, who's been on a tear lately. Before you know it, he'll be up into the Sylvania Cup Series with performances like that. So thanks again, everyone. Glad you could make it to the broadcast. It was overall fun to do. A little bit different, a little bit more chaos and excitement than usual. So we'll be going on to the next race next week. We do have the Cup race tomorrow night, which will see many newcomers making their season career debut in the Cup side of things. Atlee Weiss rolls in with the intentions of defending the championship from 2023. And there's a whole lot unknown. So 2024 making the Cup Series debut this time at Armory Digital Superspeedway, where we often open the season in Fontana. So a little bit of changes there. To some that might be kind of ho-hum since it's a super speedway. It's obviously random chance as to who might pull out the victory, a lot less strategy involved. But overall, you got to start the series somehow, start 2024 off with a bang, and we might see a surprise winner. We did get to see Trevor Walker pull off the win at Armory Digital Superspeedway in the trucks just last night, or Tuesday night rather. So getting everything rolling here in 2024. Happy first day of February, and glad y'all could tune in. Hopefully you have a good night, and we'll catch you on the next stream tomorrow night.